Hey everybody, welcome back for some more World of Warships. There's the teams if you want to go back and pause it. Today it's going to be two battles in my U.S.S Ranger, which as you can hear I've got Captain Seagal at the helm. Or standing near the helm, I guess, not actually at the helm. Anyway. I have got the U.S.S Lexington now. There'll be Lexington videos coming soon. I decided I've got a whole bunch of extra ports from the ARP missions at the end of last year. So instead of selling the Ranger, I decided to keep it. My idea was I was going to switch to the captain I had for the Ranger, who is now my Lexington captain, back and forth between the Ranger and the Lexington, and try to get dual win bonuses every day. Well, it turns out you can't actually do that, which I'm sure all of you who actually play World of Warships know. You can't just switch a captain between ships unless it's switching to a premium ship, because he loses his skills on that ship if you switch him to a new one. Oh well. I had Captain Steven Seagal just sitting there in my, I don't know, what do you want to call it, in my captains, not doing anything. So I threw him in the Ranger to keep getting bonuses when I was trying to finish the Graf Spee missions. So, long and the short of it, turns out that this was the fourth battle, or rather, this was the fourth battle, and I had three epicenter battles out of those four. So the battle previous to this one was a regular battle, but two prior to that were epicenter. So I was kind of getting tired of epicenter, but at least I had a good idea of what I was doing with it. So I've got my strike wing heading up north off the east side here to try and go find the enemy carrier and snipe it, and unfortunately that's the direction he sent his strike wing in too. Well, his air supremacy wing, I should say. As you can see there, with two bombers and a fighter squadron, you know it's going to be air supremacy. So he's detected my air wing, so much for sending them around the edge of the map. They're going to get annihilated at this point if I do that, so I'm going to have to send them directly up north and attack the first thing that they see. He's also spotted my carrier and is going to send his bombers in on me. Can't really be helped. So I load up my bombers on the Graf Spee and the Tirpitz up there to go after him, and then move down to my carrier to get ready to hit my repair. Now thankfully this guy was not very patient, and he sends both his bombers in as quickly as he can, which lets me take the damage and then hit the repair as quickly as possible. Instead of letting me burn for a little while and keeping his other bomber just out of range, which would have forced me to take fire damage, or wait, or hit my repair and then take a second strike and really take some fire damage. So, lost my number 5 squadron. My 3 and 4 get in and get some hits on the Tirpitz, get him burning. And then my number 2 squadron I'm sending up towards the giant mass of enemy ships out there in the northwest. And they've already taken quite a bit of damage from his fighter squadrons, and then by the time they get into where they can actually drop torpedoes, they're down to half strength. And with about 7 ships firing AAA at them, they're not going to make it very far. Down to 2, down to 1, and an all-shot down before they even get to drop. Between Tirpitz, Bayern, North Carolina, and New Orleans, 6 torpedo planes aren't going to make it very far. So my number 4 squadron, the lucky SOBs, actually make it back to the carrier. The only ones out of the 4 squadrons. Everybody else has been totally annihilated and shot down. So they make it back to the squadron and land, and here come the 2 fighters from the enemy carrier who are just going to camp on top of me, and I thought, I started getting frustrated here because I know what's going to happen. He's doing exactly what he should do. When you've got an air supremacy wing and you run into somebody with a strike wing, you're trying to find that carrier and you park your planes right outside of it, and you effectively take that enemy carrier out of the battle. Because I cannot launch my air wing and do anything with them as far away as I am from friendly ships. My air wing launches, they're going to get swarmed by enemy fighters and just annihilated, and then by the time they get into attacking enemy ships, they're going to be so decimated they will get all shot down and be totally ineffective by the time they actually arrive. So what I do here is try to bait him in by launching the air wing and then immediately returning them all into land, trying to bait his fighters into my AAA on my Ranger. He doesn't fall for it. But at any rate, he sort of comes in, but then I think he realizes my guys are going into land and he backs off again. So his fighters are in a perfect spot here to keep me from doing anything. The team let the enemy have all 3 points, which is kind of crazy on an epicenter. It's not that hard to just drive in right behind one of the islands there on our side and just park there, and you at least prevent the enemy from taking it, and they have to at least come find you and destroy you. But at any rate, I am effectively completely taken out of this battle right now by the enemy fighters hanging there, and his bombers have got free reign to go and attack whatever they can find and attack. However, we do have some AAA up there, We've got a Cleveland and an Atlanta that are at least relatively protecting the bulk of our fleet up there with a pretty decent AAA umbrella, so at least the enemy bombers aren't able to just free reign come in and attack. They're just not really threatened by anything. Of course, I don't have fighters anyways. So his fighters are just camped out, hanging out there. There's nothing that I can do except hope that my AAA shoots them down. Which the Rangers got decent AAA, but it's not that good. So really, I'm just kind of stuck here. I asked for help for AAA in the chat, and amazingly, I actually get some responses. I was hoping for either the Atlanta or the Cleveland to come down. There's a Tirpitz who says he's going to come out, and most importantly, right here, the Prinz Eugen captain, Augustius. A million thanks to him, because he actually does respond and come down and help me, and you'll see he actually bails me out, which is the title of the video. I get bailed out by the team, and then I repay the favor. Here's where I get bailed out by the team coming up here. And then after that, you'll see when I repay the favor to the team. Enemy bombers have gone back and reloaded. They're coming in to strike me again. But at least finally now I can move in my... The nice thing is my fleet is all in one spot here. Now that's not really a good thing, however in Epicenter it's not the end of the world. The nice thing is I can sail up to my fleet and I've got some good protection. Both from surface guns firing back at the enemy ships, but also AAA helping me get protected from the enemy air attacks. And now that the Prinz Eugen is actually close enough in to help me out here, the bombers are going to get in and strike me again, but again for the second time, he hits me with his first squadron, doesn't hesitate at all, comes immediately in with the second squadron. So he does hit me with those squadrons, but I'm able to immediately hit my repair and take as minimal damage as you can really possibly take. And now I'm close enough to the Prinz Eugen that I'm underneath his AAA umbrella. And finally, I can get my air wing back into the battle after being stuck without them and getting really frustrated up to this point in the battle. Now I've got some friendly air cover. I am taking some shots in from some enemy ships, but thankfully they're all firing AP and not HE, which could have been a disaster. I'm now under the friendly AAA umbrella of the Prinz Eugen. I'm getting close to a Tirpitz and a Colorado and a Bismarck up there. And now I can effectively launch my entire strike wing, send them straight north, and they can overfly the top of all of my friendly ships. And that's not the first time you're going to hear Captain Seagal say that the enemy's about to win, by the way. Or not the last time, I mean. It is the first time, but you'll hear it from him quite a few times at the end of this battle. He's such a pessimist. So the strike wing is now able to launch and overfly a whole big long line of friendly AAA from ships. And I was really disappointed here. I thought we were done. I thought we had lost it. So Captain Seagal wasn't the only pessimist on board the Ranger at this point. But big thanks to the Prinz Eugen, and I did thank him in the game there for coming and saving me. And then the Colorado and the Tirpitz and the Mahon and the Leander also got out in front of me and gave me quite a bit of a screen there, which let me get up closer to the friendly fleet and also get all my planes up north to go do something about that Anshan and the Tirpitz up there. Really thought we were going to lose this. Obviously, we don't at this point, if you haven't figured that out, but you'll see it's quite a comeback and quite a score swing. Now this is the big turning point in the battle for me right here. The biggest turning point was getting saved by the AAA, but here's where I start to really repay the team for saving me from the AAA. My bombers get in and knock out the Anshan, and I've got 2 more bombers who haven't dropped yet, and then my torpedo planes get a kill shot on the Tirpitz. Double kill. That's the second time, as far as I know, that I've ever had a double kill. So thanks again there to the team for saving me. And now my number 4 and number 5 squadrons are sprung free. They've got their bombs left, and they're behind the enemy team and behind the enemy's fighters. And now they can go and find the enemy carrier while my number 2 and number 3 squadrons are able to return home and rearm. He knows my bombers are coming. They've been spotted by the Tirpitz and the Tirpitz's catapult fighter. But at least one of his fighter squadrons can't get there in time to do anything about it. I don't know where his other fighter squadron is, but presumably they're somewhere close back to the carrier. Huge thanks to my team for coming and bailing me out there. I cannot thank them enough, because I was completely out of this battle until they came back there and saved me from the fighters, and then the battle just completely turns around from there on out. I've spotted the Ranger. Now my number 4 squadron is under attack from fighters, but number 5 is going to actually make it in. He's not going to get caught yet. 4 is in trouble, but 5 is basically free and clear, so the sacrifice of Squadron 4 will long be remembered. because they allow Squadron 5 to get in. Squadron 5 did take a hit from the AAA, but they got 5 of their bombers in on the attack. Got some good hits on him. 4 doesn't make it, but at least 2 hits and 1 fire at least makes him burn his repair. Does a bit of damage to him. He's burning still. There's Pessimist Captain Seagal saying the enemy's about to win again. The enemy Ranger has used his repair now, so the fires have stopped on the deck. Did a pretty good amount of damage to him, though. I'm turning my focus to the North Carolina down here, because he's getting a little bit close. Also, he's pretty low health, which makes him quite a worthy target to go after. Now, unfortunately, our Prinz Eugen has been destroyed there, but he did get a burnout kill on a Tirpitz after the fact. So, again, good work for him there. My number 3 squadron gets in on the North Carolina, gets 3 good bomb hits and 2 fires on him, and then my torpedo planes come in and get a real good torpedo strike on him as well. In a minute, after they finish circling back and coming in for a second chance. However, the Tirpitz finishes him off before he can take my torpedo hits. Now, I've moved my carrier into the cap circles here to try and get into the first 2 circles and kind of hide in between those rocks. I'm spotted, and I'm taking hits from something. I can't tell what it is. It turns out it's a pair of Fijis, and thankfully they don't have any HE. They can only fire AP at me, so it would have been worse if they could set me on fire. They are still doing relatively good damage to me, but at least they can't set me on fire and stop me from launching my air wing, which is the important thing here. Now, the Atlanta has gotten himself in a great position to defend me, and while I do take bomb hits again, he sends both squadrons in, sets me on fire, and I can immediately, again, use the repair for the 3rd time. So I've still got a little more than half my health. I am taking pretty good, small, needling damage from the Fijis there. And I had a problem with getting my number 4 squadron to actually go in on the attack here. They kept hitting just the edge of the circle as I was trying to manually attack them, and they turned around and circled back enough times that they finally got wiped out. But really good riddance to those pilots. Big thanks to the Atlanta in his picket position there for providing quite a nice AAA umbrella over me. I'm down to a little bit below half my health here, but here's where the Atlanta being in that position really pays off. I'm able to fly my bombers and other planes right back up to him. He knows the Atlanta's there and he runs away from it with his fighters. The Atlanta has now burned out the enemy New Orleans that I couldn't get my bombers in, so that's another ship down. And you'll notice here, I've got 2 kills, and there are 4 enemy ships left. So, take note of that. There's a Bayern down south. I'm going to circle my planes around and head after him while they can hide behind the Tirpitz and the Bismarck's AAA. The Fiji, I know there's at least 1 Fiji up there. The Atlanta's basically got him covered, and the Atlanta is safe from any sort of air attacks, obviously. So I have backed out to hide myself behind the rocks from the Fijis, although obviously it doesn't work. They can lob their shells over the top of it. So I'm going to push my ship forward again and move back into the inner 2 circles. Now you can see that there's a pair of Fijis working together up there. Bringing the strike wing in on this Bayern. He doesn't have very high health, but I don't really care. He's got enough health. And here's where one of my better manual strikes come from. And this is something with the replay, you don't get to see what my strike setups were, unfortunately. So you can't really see how I was aiming them. But they were good enough that the bomb hits burned him out before my torpedo planes could even actually hit him. Enemy fighters get in on my planes, but I don't really care at this point, because I've got enough spare planes left, and I know I can get my guys back to the Atlanta quickly enough. However, the Atlanta's under quite a bit of attack here from the pair of Fijis there. He's kind of getting overwhelmed by 2 guys shooting at him, even with the rapid fire the Atlanta can provide. Still, the battle at this point is not a foregone conclusion. Even though we're doing well and we're kind of swinging things around, we're still significantly behind in tickets. And even though we've got 3 enemy ships left against our 5, our battleships are not really in the battle, per se. However, they are about to push all the way. The Tirpitz and the Bismarck are now pushing up into the capture point, so we are now capturing it. Our Atlanta unfortunately burned out. Big thanks to Avenger there. Avenger24, if you ever actually see this video, thank you as well as Augustius, because you both provided some very timely AAA cover to me. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't save you there, Avenger, from the Fijis. However, if you are actually watching this, keep watching, because I'm about to get revenge for you. He did take out one of the Fijis himself while they finally knocked him out, but at least I was able to get my mine after him. And now finally the battleships are moved into the capture point, and we're taking the capture circles away from the enemy. Some serious hits on the Fiji from one of the battleships. I had a lot of problems getting my guys, kept spinning back around because I kept hitting manual attacks right at the edge of the circle, or even just outside the edge of the circle, and they would keep circling back, but... 5, I sent in on a manual attack and they completely missed. 4, at least I had a manual attack, or 5 I had in on an auto. 4 at least went in on a manual attack and hit, and then 3 comes in and gets a pretty good manual attack here too. Eventually, once they stop dancing around in circles. 2 good hits, 2 good fires. He's burning out. Number 2 puts the coup de grace in on him. And there's kill number 4 for the battle. Leaving only the enemy aircraft carrier left. We're taking all the points back. We've got nothing but the enemy carrier left. I've now got 4 kills, which is one hell of a swing around from being totally pinned down in the southeast and unable to do anything, to now having 4 kills in the battle and completely swinging the battle with the team, obviously not by myself by any means. I had some very big AAA help. I got a compliment from Augustius for getting the 4 kills here, but I gave him a compliment in the battle too for saving me, coming down and bailing me out of the AAA. Now I've only got 6,000 HP left, which is kind of a big deal. If the enemy bombers get down on me, they can take me out in a single strike. But like I said to Augustius there in chat, this whole battle would have been for nothing if I didn't get bailed out by the AAA. Now, I was sailing up towards the fleet. It would have happened eventually, but he did actually respond and come down and save me. Now, the one thing that I wish you could actually get to see here, which you don't get to see from the replay, is the routing I sent all my my strike wing on here. With my 4 squadrons and nothing left but the enemy aircraft carrier, I decided that instead of trying to hide my planes over the top of friendly battleships for AAA, I'm just going to send all 4 of my squadrons in 4 different directions, and he can only go after 2 of them, which lets 2 of my strikers get in on his carrier and do some serious damage no matter what. So, 1 bomber squadron goes away north, 1 bomber squadron goes away south, and then my other 2 guys kind of split up in the middle. The torpedo and other bomber squadron are going to go up the middle. He can only choose to go after 2 of them, and I know, at least by the last known position on the map, he's somewhere up in the northwest, rather. So as you can see, I've got the planes spread out enough to move in and find him. There's only so much he's going to be able to do before my planes are all going to arrive on target, and if nothing else, I'm at least going to find him and spot him, and the battleships will be able to move in on him. Now, I'm sure he's had the Bismarck spotted, who's all the way out west, so that's going to probably have driven him to turn around and run back north. So that's where I'm going to focus my search, is up northwest. My torpedo planes are actually holding off their own. The rear gunners in Torpedo Squadron number 2 here get some commendations when they get back to the carrier and land, because they did some real good work. And I kind of wish I could see what the watching the plane view was like on here, because it must have been pretty neat looking. So the Bismarck takes out the final remnants of the enemy fighter squadron that was harassing my bombers. So big thanks to the Bismarck there. Again, friendly trip. It might have even been the Tirpitz, but the enemy carrier is now spotted. I'm going to grab all my planes and send them in on him. And I do get quite a bit of damage assistance from the battleships here. Now look at how much time is left. 45 seconds left in the battle. Obviously we're going to win by tickets no matter what. But I get my bombers in for manual attacks here. They all do a pretty good job. Pretty good hits on Group 5. Pretty good hits from Group 4. My torpedo planes got finally knocked out. So hopefully we rescue some of the torpedo tail gunners with a PBY or something, because they shot down 2 planes with the tail gunners. 20 seconds left. Time is counting down. Carrier's taking some serious hits. And watch this. Watch the timer. right at 10 seconds left in the battle, I get the final fatal kill in. And that's it for my Kraken. So, I had a day of premium for the New Year's resolution battle being completed just before this. And I was trying to get all the Graf Spee convoy missions done, so that's what I was doing here with the Ranger. So pretty good for a premium battle with 24 hours of premium. And then, I'll bring you another battle. This is one, this was literally the very next battle I sailed with my U.S.S Ranger.
General quarters.
The outcome wasn't quite as good, but still, for 2 battles in a row, I thought they went pretty well. So as we get started here, again, obviously I'm sailing it's literally the very next battle, so I'm sailing my strike wing again.
Sorry, no can do. It's a go. Ready for takeoff. Move forward. Ready. Move 5. Ready for takeoff. Move 2. Ready. Move 3. Airborne.
So you'll see our team is split pretty evenly from across the 2 sides. And I didn't actually notice the chat there of the guy asking what my loadout is, but like the other guy says, you got your answer there because you can see what my loadout is now as they all get airborne. I'm going to run my strike wing down the west wall here, which was a good choice, as you'll see. Now, as the battle's developing, we've basically got nobody in the middle by B, but that's okay. That's the way it goes sometimes. I don't exactly know what's going on with the map here in this replay, but you can see that the map is, like, shifting on the screen here. I don't exactly know what's going on with it, but it's kind of funny looking. And there we go. It just fixed and reset itself. I don't know exactly if that was a problem with the replay. I didn't notice it when I recorded it. It's kind of funny and weird. And then thankfully it all reset back to center. So a little bit boring here initially while my planes work their way down south, but it'll pay off. See, the enemy Ranger here is a stock wing. Maybe not necessarily a stock aircraft carrier, but he's got the stock air wing loadout. So again, you can't see due to the replay where I actually route my guys here. But what I do here is send my first 2 squadrons in a kind of a search across the I and the J lines. And then Squadron 5 and Squadron 2 are going to kind of sit back and reserve, wait to get the first hits in, start fires if possible, hopefully get fire started and then wait for him to use his repair, and then 5 and 2 come in as a second wave. Also what that does is it doesn't necessarily betray that I'm running a strike wing. For all he knows, I could be having the air supremacy wing with 2 fighters and 2 bomber squadrons, just like in the last battle with the enemy carrier. So we've spotted the Ranger, and I've got 3 and 4 are going directly east until they're directly south of the Ranger, then they're going to turn north and head straight in on him for a manual attack. I'm guessing what he did here was sail straight north from his spawn, launch his wing, and then 180 and head back south to try and get probably between those rocks down there in J6. Unfortunately, the first squadron misses pretty badly, but the second squadron gets good hits in. Here come the enemy fighters. And the tactic of sending the first 2 bomber squadrons in to potentially deceive the enemy into thinking that's all I've got worked pretty well here, because his fighters chase my bombers away, and I've now got a free, clear shot. Even if he turned around and sent his fighters back down here now, it would be way too late. He's not going to get back in. So he's used his repair. Squadron number 5 comes in, gets very good hits, and then my torpedo planes are in on him as well. Pretty much he's doomed here, especially when he turns into where my torpedo planes are, and my torpedo planes are able to come straight down and drop on his turn. And that's going to be that. He did send his fighter planes back, and what he's going to get out of his fighter planes is they're going to knock out my torpedo planes, but the massive amount of damage and flood from the torpedo planes there is going to finish him off. And now we've got no more airplanes to worry about for the team here. So I'm going to lose my torpedo planes. There's nothing else. There's nothing that can be done about that. But I've got 2 more spare entire squadrons worth of airplanes left in the spares hangar, so it kind of sucks, but oh well. Now you'll notice our team is playing very cautiously indeed. They're all sitting back in the C and D line with a couple exceptions over at C that are actually capping and engaged in fighting. There goes my torpedo planes all shot down, but that's the last thing that the Ranger captain is going to get out of that, is shooting down my the rest of my torpedo squadron. So it does cost me a minute and a half of reload on the torpedo planes, but at least I do have more torpedo planes to send in battle. This team played extremely cautiously all battle, sitting way back and just shooting without really addressing the cap points or pressing any advantages that they might have had. I mean, the team in the east even, we've got 2 guys in the capture point, but the other 4 actually are sitting way back in the back and just not pushing in to help at all or give supporting fire. This battle could have turned out much better, much faster if the team had pushed in. Now, they may also have just all been slaughtered, but at least they would have been slaughtered with some honor and some attack. And yes, okay, I'm saying this as a carrier captain who's in the back, but at least I'm sending my planes in and helping attack. So we discover a farragut here, which, of course, as I was detected a minute ago, I knew it had to be a destroyer. I didn't think it was going to be 2 of them, unfortunately. Get a good hit in on the Shiratsuyu. And do a manual attack on the farragut here, because where I thought he was going to stop in his smoke, that's usually when I attack destroyers with my bomber squadrons. I'll do an auto attack rather than a manual attack, because destroyers can just turn too quickly. And normally, if they get into smoke, I try and watch and see if they're slowing down and stopping, or if they're moving. If they're moving, I'll just sit above them. Unfortunately, 5 surrounded in there. If they're still moving, I'll just hang my bombers overhead and wait until they come out of the smoke and then bomb them. But if they look like they're stopping, I'll try to manual attack where they look like they're going to come to a stop. Which is what I did with the first attack there on the farragut, and unfortunately I missed. Now this Koenig down here, very low health. Not going to be a cheap, or not going to be a good kill, going to be a cheap kill, but still, it's 50 points of, or it's 90 points, I think, of score swing. We get 40 points for killing him, and they lose 50 points for losing him. So any chance I get to go after somebody who's a low health, particularly a battleship or a carrier, I'm going to go after him. I've let him go before where it looked like somebody on our team was going to get the final kill shot on someone, and it turned out they didn't, and then the enemy battleship starts recovering health, and I'm not going to make that mistake anymore. If I have the chance to go for a kill on a battleship, I'm going for the kill on that battleship, and I get it here. So there's some score swing, and there's still nobody from our team in the middle, and those 2 destroyers are... Well, 1 destroyer now. The farragut's been knocked out, but the Shiratsuyu is still running loose in the middle there. Now, we've lost most of our guys up there in the west.
I owe you one.
For what gain?
Proceeding to all stations. Concentrate fire on the
and our
target.
guys over in the east are still... The Scharnhorst and the destroyer over there in the west, or the east, rather, were good. They played aggressively. The Cleveland now, you'll notice the pink Cleveland chasing the Nuremberg down to the bottom of the map. He's in the I line. He's going to go all the way down to the J line around the rocks. He's completely irrelevant. The Cleveland needs to turn and head into B. But instead, the Cleveland is totally focused in on the Nuremberg and is going to chase him to the ends of the earth for no gain again. The Scharnhorst, unfortunately, is about to get torpedoed out of existence by the Shiratsuyu and his gigantic torpedo storm before I can do anything and get down there and chase him out of the smoke. I've got my bombers heading in there to find him, but it turns out that the Shiratsuyu had fired off all of his torpedoes and then ran like crazy for the north and gotten out of the smoke before he was detected. There wasn't a lot I could really do. The Scharnhorst makes it, but he's pretty low health now. Our Cleveland gets knocked out by the Nuremberg, so not only does the Nuremberg not get destroyed, but the Nuremberg takes out our Cleveland, and so we completely lost him. We lost our Cleveland to just no benefit at all. Went in for more manual attacks here. The Shiratsuyu had hauled on the brakes and either turned around or he had stopped and backed up, and all my bombers missed him, but I had the chance going after him there because he was a little too far north and a little too dangerous for me to just let him go. The Scharnhorst and B, our really most aggressive player here, is taking on a Graf Spee and a Warspit by himself with the Nürnberg providing supporting fire. Now, yes, the Nürnberg is able to reach in and hurt him, but if the Cleveland had gone into B, we might have at least had a fighting chance up there with doing extra damage to the Warspit and the Graf Spee up there. Because apparently the Nürnberg was going to survive anyway. Now again, I'm going to send my air wing into B and do what I can, and I was initially going after the Graf Spee because he's slightly less armored, but the Warspit has got next to no health, and like I said before, it may be a cheap kill, but I'm taking a battleship out, and I'm always going to take the guns of a battleship out over the cruiser, even if the Graf Spee basically has battleship guns. I did an auto attack on the Warspit based on the direction he was turning, and just let him go, and he nearly dodges the torpedoes, but thankfully it was a battleship rudder turn, and he couldn't quite get himself lined back up in between the last two torpedoes, and was able to take one on the aft quarter, which set him to the bottom. And there's my third kill for this battle. Not a lot of damage done, really, but still doing what I can to try and help the team turn things around here. We had a pretty good chance at the fight, at winning this battle here. We're even in ships right now, 6 on 6, and we've got my carrier and they have no carrier. They've got relatively low ship health. But we've got guys, 3 ships up there chasing the enemy destroyer, which at the same time, okay, the Mayhan's probably not chasing him. I don't know what the Mayhan is trying to do. The Miyoko and the Graf Spee are chasing the carrier, or the destroyer. That's okay, but we need to go move in on B right now. We really need to push our guys in on B. Now, I'm finally going to get down here on the Nürnberg, who took out the Cleveland. And we do some pretty good work with the bomber squadrons here. Squadron 3 doing the best, with 2 big fires, 2 big hits. So 5 total bomb hits and 3 fires on the Nürnberg, and he's going to burn out. I thought I was actually going to lose this kill, which I guess would have been fitting and fair based on the kills I got on the battleships, but I do actually get him. I thought any moment right here I was going to see shells come in from the top of the screen and finish him off, especially when he goes down to 48 health. He took forever to burn out, but he did eventually burn out, and there's the 4th kill. So I've now got 9 kills in the past 2 battles. Not too bad work for a Ranger, especially when Captain Seagal has got no captain skills assigned to him at all, because I'm saving him for either the Missouri or the Iowa or something. Eventually, I'm saving building up all of his captain points with the Ranger, and then eventually, when I get him into a battleship, he'll be my battleship captain. Mostly because of Under Siege, the movie. So I'm finally a little bit frustrated with my friendly ships here, who are all just parked way too far north and not pushing in. We've got a score advantage for crying out, or a ship advantage, and they're all just hanging back still. They hung back for the entire battle. The enemy team's got 800 tickets right now. We've got 7 minutes left in the battle. Plenty of time to push in there, contest the caps, do some work, and turn this battle around, and the team just doesn't ever move in on them. I got a reasonably good torpedo attack on the Colorado here. Neither too great nor too terrible. They took a couple of hits while they were launching their torpedoes. I'm just begging the team to get in there and cap right now. I wish I'd have been able to get my bombers in sooner after the Colorado. I did at least get 2 hits and a flood on him, so he's surely has used his repair here. They are shooting HE at him. They do actually set him on fire. I'm not sure if it's the Congo or the Graf Spee sets him on fire, but somebody actually sets him on fire. Our Mayhan is, I don't know exactly what he's doing. He is getting chased by the Shiratsuyu, sure enough, but he doesn't make any moves towards going into the cap here. I think what the teammate in chat was saying there meant was get into the cap. He said get into the fog, and I thought he meant like the smoke for a destroyer. Maybe he was talking to the destroyer. Maybe he might have been watching the destroyer, I'm not sure. But as I said, get in the cap, for God's sake. The enemy team's up to 900 tickets now. They're rapidly gaining tickets. We need to kill these guys to get some score, and my manual attack fail again with Squadron 3 there. Turning around and swirling back again. Pretty good bomb hits with most of my guys here, just not enough, not fast enough. Group 5, unfortunately, all 5 bombers who survived to get in there missed. That might have made a difference. I'm not sure if I would have finished him off, but they destroy one of our guys at the end, and that puts their tickets gain over 1,000, and that's the end of the battle. So, again, I had the 24 hours of premium for working on the task there, and you can see by the damage I didn't get a very high score for having 4 kills. And you can see the Kenning and the Warspit there are very low damage kills, but the Ranger and the Nuremberg were pretty good. So another pretty high payout battle. I hope you guys like this one. I look forward to bringing you more carrier battles soon. I am bringing you my first 2 battles in the Lexington probably next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to check out the social media links, and I'll see you guys next time for more World of Warships. Thanks for watching.